Okay, good morning. Thank you for tuning in live or watching this recording for our yoga practice this April 8th on 2024. So here's what I thought we would do today, as I always like to give a little variety and spice to our yoga practice. We'll start with some centering, so you can sit in a chair, and you may want to have a chair nearby or a footstool or something. I've put blocks at both ends of my yoga mat. If you also have a block, we'll do a little practice with how far we should go down in our chaturanga. So that's going to be part of it. So I hope to give us some upper body, some balance, of course, some strength, some challenge. So if something doesn't work out today, that's okay. You've just come to play and do what you can. You should always honor yourself. So if there's stuff going on in your back or your shoulders or your knees or your hips, you just take a break, don't do it, or use the options that I might be providing for you. Okay, so go ahead, get your stuff together, and if you were going to use a chair, you would put it at one end where the block is, because we're going to be doing a stretch into Chandrasana, and it might be better, instead of having a low block, to have something a little bit higher to steady yourself on. So I'm going to sit here just for a few minutes. Just imagine I'm joining you on your mat as we come to Samastiti. We come to the moment to practice, and it's always good to get ourselves in the right frame of mind. So there's probably some distractions at your house, as there always is to mine. And so let's just push those distractions away. Maybe lower or close the eyes as you sit in a way comfortable for you. So that could be with your ankles crossed, or sitting in a chair as I am doing, or sitting on your knees, or sitting on a block. And then as you lower or close those eyes, just wander around inside your body. Notice how it's feeling today. Where might you be holding tension? How did you sleep on your body last night? Maybe visit around the shoulders and notice if you're holding tension. The sensations around your back, your hips. And then as you're sitting there, or laying there if you prefer, you might become aware of the beating of your heart, your circulation. And so let's go a little more into that cardiorespiratory system by deepening the breath. And both the inhale and exhale are working to inflate and deflate the lungs. Be aware of the response of the breath, like your shoulders rising up as your belly or your ribs expanding. Do you feel the engagement of your abdominal muscles as they aid to push the air out? Can you pause on your inhale a moment and do the same on the exhale? So giving yourself that momentary pause. Returning to your natural voice, your natural rhythm, your natural breath. And then with your eyes closed, if you can, bring your hands into your heart. A slight bow of the head. We always begin our practice with that attitude of gratitude. So it's great that we're here. It's great that we're allocating some time for yourself to move, to breathe, to center, step away from our busy, hectic, or otherwise engaged in our lives. And then as you go ahead and open up your eyes and stretch your arms to the side and greet the day So the arms extended overhead. As I move onto my mat, I let the arms drop down. Now I know the volume and quality of my voice has just changed as I stepped away from the microphone, but you'll adapt. So sitting again, I'm on my knees, you can sit on a block, you can stay in the chair, you can sit on your bum with your ankles crossed. Let's begin just shifting our weight from side to side. A little bit of lean this way, a little bit of lean that way. Now it's okay to use your hands there to keep you from either falling out of your chair or to support your back. Remaining present with your breath as you kind of sway from side to side. Pause and see if you can get a forward and backward motion. A little forward, a little backwards. If you need to move into a different seated position, just go ahead and do that. You're not locked in to any one way. See if you can figure out how the breath supports the movement. So now let's move it into a circle. Our pelvis is still and we move the spine around it. Change your direction when it seems appropriate. Pause, adjust your seating if need to, maybe changing the crossing of the legs, and free your arms so that you don't need them to support you. And we're just going to let the arms press forward, turn the palms up and draw them back. I might propose that the arms press forward, breathe out, and then draw the arms in as you draw the breath in. So I'm kind of protracting and retracting in a varied way. As we're going to be working and strengthening our shoulders today, I want to be sure that they have brought a lot of warmth into them. So now let's take the arms to the side and let them just go up and down, making sure there's nothing that hurts. Finding where your range of motion is, trying to remain a straight elbow. Ask yourself, do the arms feel the same, or does one kind of go up differently than the other? Do you feel your shoulders beginning to rise up? So I'm breathing with the speed of my arms. That means my breath is a little bit faster. You feel the warmth you're creating. And this time, let's place the hands on the shoulders. We're going to go to a rotation. If that's difficult, at least just do something moderate and build on it as your back would allow. So I'm just turning from one side and to the other. Ooh, got a little adjustment in my back. So see if at least you can turn the head, even if the torso doesn't feel like it wants to go. Bring the arms up to cactus and continue the motion. It will feel a little different into the shoulders. Good, keep going. I think I'm going to turn the light on here so you can see a little better. There we go. Now, as your space allows, stretch the arms out. Here's my wall back here. I'm going to be conscious of it as I now turn with an extended arm. Again, if all you're doing is turning your head, that's a beginning. Pause, relax the arms, and assess, what do you feel? How do you feel different? Your core has had to step up to support while the arms were moving, so maybe you feel a little warm there. So I want you to feel that your head is jutting forward like you can't quite hear me. If I turned sideways, it would be, what'd she say? And then you hear what I say, and it's shocking, I tell you, and your head moves back. So the head moving forward, and the head moving back. Isolating as best you can, so it's not the shoulders, it's just the neck. You'll feel that chin drawing towards your chest. Being able to isolate parts of our body really helps us learn about where we might be stiff. We didn't know. All of a sudden this just became a unit and it should be able to be segmented. Okay, so now someone is whispering over here and I'd like to lean in a little and hear what they're saying. Oh, and they're over here. So I'm going to lean over there just to hear what they're saying. So not leaning my body over, try and hold this still, just like what they say, what they say. So again, it's using the muscles of your neck to move the head above your shoulders. And it may not be easy, it's not something we do often, right? Breathing, are we breathing? So let's see if we can create like a 360, going forward, going outward, going backwards, going outward, going forward, outward. It's awkward, isn't it? It's okay. Next time you go forward, go the other way, back. So it is like a circle, but I don't want you to get into this, just the head. Awkward. I agree. Pause center and drop your head ear to shoulder. Again, if you need to change your seating or support yourself, as we just bring a little mobility into our neck and shoulders today. And then from the chest, let the chest cave in, collapse, contract, and then let it project forward. So, hand pressing in, hand pressing in. Now the ribs are going to shift side to side. You may need to change your seated position. Can still be done in a chair, cross-legged, or on your knees. And this one you're going to feel through your core because you're using your core muscles. Now let's see if we can get that 360. So it's a forward, sideways, backways, sideways. I think I slept on my back in one way too long, so I woke up with a little bit of sore back. Let's go the other way. But maybe my yoga practice will make it feel a little better. I'll be mindful if you'll be mindful. Okay, let's all come to sit on our bum with our hands behind us and our feet up with the knees together so we can drop our knees from side to side. Moving down into our pelvis. So you can let the feet slip by one another. You can keep them together. And then let's do the Bandha Konasana. So bottom of the feet together, still leaning back on my hands. The knees fall out. Oh, my hips. So I'm lifting here. If I'm not using my hands behind me, my hips will be more like this, I suspect. So just see if you can get a little freedom. I'm wiggling, I'm squirming, I'm breathing. And I will extend my legs out in front and let me turn sideways because then you'll see my feet still leaning on my hands, but not back here. Try and support the spine. Feet extended from your hip, and the feet go back and forth. So a little energy brought to the lower limbs. Do 1 foot back and 1 foot forward. Bandhas and breath. You hear me say this a lot. Mula Bandha, pelvic floor energy, action of Uddiyana, that zipper motion, and lifting the heart will always serve us. So we're going to do a little flossing as I lean back and grab hold behind my leg. So I want the knee to stay here. So it may mean that my knee needs to come down because maybe that's as far as I can straighten my leg. And it may mean that you can put your leg up because you want to hold the knee there. And you'll find the challenge for you in the back of the leg. Try not to sink into your back, but lift out of it. And just do a little flossing. And over to the other leg. Bandhas, breath. Find where your leg can be so that it can go straight. And then the knee stays right where you have it. So if it's up close to you, that leg, I suspect, is going to go a wee bit higher, eh? Then we're going to come to a little quieting, a little place for you to connect with your greater third eye chakra. So come into a child's pose. That can be with your knees parted for a little more space in your torso. Some people like their knees together and rest their body on it. Arms can be extended, folded under the head and behind. So remember, child's pose always available when we're practicing. If you choose not to do what we're doing, just come to child's pose. It's probably what you need to do. And again, I point to my third eye chakra. It is my guide. It knows better about you than I would know. I'll use mine, you use yours. So bring yourself up, and if you have a block or just something that you can put under your chest, we're going to measure the depth of our chaturanga. We're not going to go all the way down to the mat every time. So I'm going to bring my block up, and I have 3 sizes: the tall size, the medium size, and the lowest side. There's the lowest, and it gets a little taller and taller. So if I'm not very upper body strong, I might want the taller side, and that's fine. And I can use my toes or my knees. So let's go through these options. I'll start with this one, and then I'm going to see if I can do a little bit more. So when I come into my plank, on my palms or on my knuckles, shoulders over my hands, toes back. Remember with chaturanga, let me face you, the elbows orient in, and the shoulders stay grounded or anchored. So it wouldn't be this, and it wouldn't be this. So you can kind of feel this is what is going to happen. And let's start with the simplest form. So I come to my plank, and then I let my knees drop down. So you see my hips are still in line with my shoulders. And then I bend the elbow, there's the block, and come back up. Now that may be option 1. Here's option 2, a little bit lower of something, keeping your chin up. So that's a little more challenging. If you can work from this one, what's going to happen is you're going to remember how far you can go in proper form. So here I am from here. Now, if you can do it from the toes, all the better. So if you can be on your toes, keep practicing. Find out what is best for you. That's probably all I want to do. Each one gets a little more challenging as I go lower. So did you figure out how low you should go, not letting your hips drop below and on your toes or on your knees? So there goes my block. When we get to that point, I always start with the most challenging variation. Let's go ahead and stand up. And then I work downward from there. But that's just me. You could start at the easy one and build up. Look, no hands as you come up. And our orientation today will have a part where you're facing the long end. And then we'll end up at the side using the end of our mats with a chair or a block. And then stepping and doing some chaturangas. But for right now, just to get a little more fluidity going, start at the short end of your mat. And build that Tadasana. So when I say build it, I mean ground the feet, engage your inner thighs, draw up from the pelvic floor, draw in through the lower belly, lifting the heart all the way through the crown of the head, and lots of energy in your hands. Now notice how it feels and breathe. To a chair pose of your own making and back to Tadasana. When you come back to Tadasana, make sure you don't scoot forward too much. So, chair pose, mountain pose. That was a variation. Chair pose, mountain pose. Chair pose, mountain pose. Just continue to your chair pose and mountain pose. Make a little adjustment here. Think about where your breath supports the move. For me, it's the exhale into chair pose and the inhale into mountain pose. How are the knees? How are the backs? Remember, the arms do not have to go high. This is a good accommodation. And if that feels a bit too much as well, this is a good accommodation. Let's pause together in Tadasana. Hands upon your waist. Remember, I put the hands here so you can monitor whether you're moving your hips when you move one leg, and you want to try and stay steady because we're going to start moving our feet. Alternate lifting your heels. Going over the pads of each one of your toes. So we're going to challenge our balance. As one heel comes up, it stays up with the knee bent. Engage through your bandhas, raise the other heel up. First heel goes down, second heel comes down. Now switch your lead leg. Go up with the other heel first, then the second leg. First leg comes down, second leg. Now start with the second leg. Now next time you rise to both heels up, pause there. It's going to be a little wobbly. Use your bandhas, float the arms, and as your knees allow, go down as we do the awkward pose. Drop your heels, drop your arms, push your hips, a body weave as the arms come from behind, going all the way over with your hands on your knees. Now remember, my feet are not together. If yours are, scoot them apart. And this is where we do cats and cows. Dropping the tailbone, nodding your chin. Inverting, tailbone up, chest up. Next time you come to the cat pose, bring the hands down onto the mat next to the feet by bending your knees, and then lift the chest. Take one of your feet, either one of them, and slide it back on the ball of the foot. Now here's where some people use blocks under their hands. Front knee above the ankle, back heel presses through the heel, belly is in, and the hips sink. Lift the hips, bend the back knee, push off. Drop the hips, lift your chest, make your back strong. Other foot, whichever that one is, see, wiggle, 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 slide. Leave the front knee over the ankle. Sink through your hips. Accommodate if you need a little higher, if that's where you are. Use your props to support you. Every day we come to our practice with a body that may feel different than last time, so it's okay. Inhale, lift, push off the back leg, step up. We're going to roll up mindfully, so squeeze the legs together, drop the head, zip your zipper, slowly roll all the way up until you stand like a mountain. Going down into a plank. The arms lift when you breathe in, touch the earth when you breathe out. Lift your chest when you breathe in. Either foot walks back so you come to a plank or a push-up pose. From the knees, from the toes, go down and up. Check your elbows. Go down and up. Now this time go all the way down and relax your feet. Let's come to the elbows for a little Sphinx pose. And depending on how your back is feeling today, you may want to move those elbows a little forward to accommodate. Still hold the shoulders down. Pick up your belly button. Lift up your heart. Back to the breath. The awareness of the curve in your back, not thinking of it bending, but more like curving. Zip your zipper. Remove your hands back under the shoulders. Elbows are in, and relax. Toes under. The hips are up either with your thighs up or with your knees down. And then lift your chest secondary and lift up into your first downward dog. As I look to my feet, I walk my feet forward a little bit. It may feel better to bend the knees, but if you can, straighten the legs. You're looking towards your thighs. Stand on one foot, it won't matter which one. Raise the other leg. This is our three-legged dog with a straight leg. Place that foot down, switch, raise the other foot up, straight leg. Lower the foot down, raise both your heels, bend your knees, sit back, look forward to your hands, walk your feet, step your feet, or jump your feet up to where your hands are. And we go to forward fold with the hands around or over your calves. Lay the body on your thigh, drop your head, and as you pull together, then try to straighten the legs. Bend your knees, release your arms, be aware of your blood pressure as we rise. Arms come together. Hands to your heart. So that's our little prep. Let's get set up for a little balance sequence that will have some chaturanga in it. You see I have a block at both ends. If you need the time to move your chair seat from end to end, you'll be able to do that. When we get centered, this will be our starting position, Tadasana, facing the long end of the mat. Let me give you a little visual so you can see where we're going with this and how much fun it's going to be, right? So we have done this before. Just watch for a moment, get your props set up, and keep an eye on me and I'll show you what we're doing. So we're going to inhale, arms up, then we do this one. Remember this one. After we go here, we're going to step onto one leg brace. Open your chest, lean out, lift up the leg, and either use something to touch, hands at heart or arms up. Then we'll step back into warrior. Then we'll go down into a chaturanga. Then we'll go into a three-legged dog. Go halfway down, three-legged dog. One more time, down and up, then down, then up, down dog. Then raise one heel, step up, come up, and then you'll turn and face either the other side or the same side. So that's kind of it. Looks like fun, right? Don't worry if you fall out of it, and it's not fast, but now you kind of know where we're going. Okay, so here are my blocks. Here's me in a mountain pose, kind of checking in with myself. Now this first one is a beautiful stretch, and it leads into a bit of a balance. You can do the same leg of me, or you can just do it your own way. Just make sure you do both sides after the push-ups. So in the inhale, the arms stretch to the side. Let's take the right foot back. As you exhale, the right foot crosses over the back leg. The front knee bends, the back heel drops, and the left arm drops as I raise the right arm. Now I have the choice to look down, or to look up, or to look straight ahead. It's a little wobbly, huh? Front knee bent, back leg straight. So just see what this pose offers you with breath, the opening along your side. Now let's move to the Chandrasana. So as I open my arms, the back leg comes out, and I stand on that foot as the knee bends. It's almost like a warrior, right? And that hand can come to my thigh, and the other hand to the hip. Let's focus for a moment on that back shoulder. So rather than going down here thinking you're going for a block or a chair seat, think of getting that shoulder open so that when you tip over, top shoulder over bottom shoulder, and then we'll work to get that top hip over the bottom hip. So you may want to stay on your hand, chair seat, or eventually a block, or not at all. Shift your weight into the front foot. Now you're just tapping the back leg. Take your shoulder back and the hip back as that leg rises up and the body tips over. Now if you want to reach for the chair seat or where the block is, where's your block, Karen? And you hold that leg up. And if you're not using anything, that's okay. Arms can lift. Arms can be at your heart. If you step out, like I just did, you come back, find it again. Step back, fall down. Here's where you come to warrior. So bring that playful heart, front knee bent, back leg straight, warrior two. See that it kind of grounds you. Now we go to a plank and a half of a push-up, not going all the way down. Windmill the arms, lift the back heel, step into your plank, and go halfway down wherever that block was. Come up and do a three-legged dog, one leg. Come down, do a another chaturanga and lift the second leg. Now go all the way down through your knees or toes. Baby cobra, cobra, up dog. Come down, hips up from knees or toes, and then press up into your downward dog. And if you prefer, child's pose will be an option. Stand on the leg closest to the edge of the mat that you were starting at. So it could be your left. Pick up your right leg perhaps, the back leg. Raise the standing heel. Bend the top leg, look forward, swing and step your foot up. I'll give you a moment. So I've come to my lunge. We did this in the warm-up. Back heel is up. I'm going to stand up in crescent pose. Feel free to use your leg. As you come all the way up, turn toward the long end of the mat. Now you may be facing the other way, but work it out. And then step back to Tadasana and close the posture. Now that might have been a bit much, or it might have been to your liking. If you're only using one support thing, move it to the other side. Go ahead, stay in your Tadasana. Get all of your needs met, your bandhas, your breath. So the arms will lift and your left foot will go back. And as that left foot crosses over, the heel comes down, back leg straight, front knee bent. Left arm will lift as the right arm drops. Looking forward, looking down, looking up, kind of explore. How is this feeling today? As I return back, I'm going to step out with my left foot, looks like to you, and my toes pointing toward the short end of the mat. I bend the knee, put my hand on my thigh, put the other hand on my hip. And I either have the chair seat or a block there, or a stool of some sort, or just use my leg. Shift out. Remember that top shoulder will want to come forward. Keep it anchored back. Bandhas, hip open. Shift, slowly lift the back leg as the lower of the torso. Then either reach for the block or the chair or not. Breathe. Find yourself coming back to your warrior and just cultivate that calm. And we go down onto the mat into the plank, and if you want to forego the chaturangas, the little practice push-ups, go to child's pose. Otherwise, windmill the arms, flip the back heel up, move to a plank from your toes or from your knees. So I'll do from the knees this time. So bend the elbows, come back up, all the way up, three-legged dog, breathe in. Back to your plank, chin up, lower your chest, come back up. Now do the three-legged dog on the other side. Now this time, come back to your plank, go all the way down. Relax your feet. Baby cobra, cobra, up dog. And come down. Toes under from knees or hips. The hips come up. You press onto hands into your down dog. So you're going to stand on the leg closest to the long end of the mat that you were starting from. Pick up the back leg, three-legged dog. Raise your heel, bend the top knee, look forward, step the right foot up, and you're in a lunge. Ground your feet, standing up, use your thigh if you need to, and the arms go forward. Crescent pose. Open to the long end of the mat. Close the posture. Tadasana. Give yourself a moment. Recognize the effort, the intentions. So we'll repeat this. It will move a little faster. So the good news is you won't have to hold your balancing for as long, but kind of know where you're going, and I will talk you through it. So I'm on the long end of the mat. I'll be moving with my right leg. Inhale, arms lift to the side, right leg goes back. Exhale, right leg crosses over, stay straight, bend the front knee, lift the right arm, breathe in. Release, step out that right foot as if to do a warrior, hand on thigh, chest hip open, shift weight out, lift up, Chandrasana. Step back to your warrior, cultivate calm. Windmill the arms, lift the back heel into your plank. Remember, knees or toes, halfway down and up, three-legged dog. Back to plank, knees or toes, head up, halfway down, back up, three-legged dog. This time, knees or toes, slowly all the way down. Relax your feet. Baby cobra, cobra up dog, and down. Toes under, hips up, press it from the mat, downward dog. Stand on the leg closest to the front of the mat where you began. Raise the back leg up, lift the standing heel. As you bend the top knee, it swings and gives you momentum to step forward. Use your thigh if you need to. Come up into crescent. Turn to the front and close the posture. You see your body seeking homeostasis. Notice if you can feel the heart slowing. So we'll do the other side. For most of us, that's going to be the left leg. Inhale, arms lift. Left leg steps back. I'm on the ball of that foot. Crosses over as I drop the heel, the front knee bend, body is forward. Breathe in as I lift the left arm. Breathe out, step out with that left foot, toe toward the short end, bend the knee, hand on hip, shoulder back. Shift your weight over. Consider grabbing something if you need it. Breathe. Step back into your warrior. Cultivate the calm. Use your options. Windmill the arms down to your plank. From the knees, from the toes. Halfway down and up. Downward dog. 3 legs. Come back plank, knees or toes, halfway down and up. Lift the other 3-leg dog. Come back to plank, down all the way. Relax your feet. Baby cobra, cobra, up dog, and down. Toes under, hips up. Come on, last push up, and up we go to downward dog. Stand on the leg closest to the front end, the long end of the mat where you started. Raise the back leg up, lift the standing heel, bend the top knee, swing and step forward. Ground into the crescent. And when we open, stay here. Now position your toes in and your heels out and your hands on your side. A feeling of the heart lifting. Breathe in. Slide the hands over your thighs, lean into your toes, pause here, hands above your knees. So your legs are straight and feel that you're falling forward, but you don't. If it's appropriate, slide the hands over the knees toward the shins. If it's appropriate, put your hands on the floor. If it's appropriate, put your head on the floor. Come back to put both hands above your knees and bend your right knee. Put both hands on the right knee. Keep bending the right knee. Now, if you had a block and it was nearby, you could use it to support yourself as you drop the hips further, or you could just leave your hand on your leg as you drop into the inner thigh, or you could drop down onto the floor. Move to the other side, so walk across the floor or come back to your legs. Hand now on your left leg, keep sinking as the hips come down, the chest is up. Find your own way until the inner thigh says hello to you. Come back center, hands on knees. Now move your toes and heels toward one another. We're coming into a squat. So if again you have a block nearby, here's something you could do with it. Put it behind you. And then carefully squat. So this is supported garland pose. And if you were be able to squat down, and elbows here. Your heels are down. Now, on your own terms, and trying not to use your hands, see if you can sit yourself down. I just plopped back. See if you can do it without your hands. Remember, we've been doing that for a while, but now it's quite the thing to try and get people, up. It's like quite a thing. So still little for our hips. If you have a block and you don't need a block, consider putting it, let's cross our legs so the right foot is in front, not underneath, but the right foot is in front. And if you have a block, lay it on its lowest side and elevate your foot. Sit with your hands behind and lift up. Now, this block isn't necessary and it may not be advisable for you. I'll show you what it looks like from the side. So here's what it's like without. I see my left foot, there's my right foot out there. If I elevate the right foot, it's this. So I'm going into the hip primarily on the front leg. However, your body is going to just take it in as it takes it in. And then bring that part forward with the help of your hands. Now, if you normally don't elevate the leg and you could roll up a towel or a blanket or something, if you were more like this, you're more used to going further forward. So this might somewhat limit you, but I want you to take in the sensation of actually how it's opening more into your hip. Now, it may be appropriate to take your hands away, or it may not, so you choose. Lift up your chest, support yourself as you move back. Go ahead, lean back, and if your legs are crossed without elevation, you're just going to switch them the other side. If you have a block or a blanket, you may need to amend it, so let's do the other side. And you may find that you shouldn't use something on one side where you should on the other. I don't know, it's just how we're made. So I sit on my bum and I lift up. Your knee may not be out as far as mine, yours may be more up here, so decide whether the block or towel is even helpful. Good time to dive back into that breath. Slowly come out of your forward fold, mindfully positioning yourself to face the short end of the mat like I am so that you can lay back. Now I'm going to use this block, but you don't need it. You can just pretend, but sometimes it just helps you. It reminds you to adduct or pretend like you're holding a block between the legs, which will lend support for the back. So let's go through the variations and options, as one side doesn't always fit everyone. So as I move mindfully down onto my back, I'm going to do it with the block first, and then you can just pretend you have a block. Now the head can be down, nodding the chin, looking outward. Make sure your head is up, so in that case you might want a pillow or something. So I will take the block, and you have to determine what's a good size fit because it's going to be between the legs. So for me, this is a good size fit, and it's between my knees. I want to lay on my back just a moment. Now you could do this with a small towel, like it's a little convoluted, but I wouldn't do it with a blanket, or nothing is fine. So as you address the bandhas, tighten the belly. Don't let the back press down, but you press the belly, and then go ahead and lift those knees up with your feet out. Try and bring the knees above the hips rather than in. When you bring them in, that's an assist, and it takes the work out of your core. Bringing your knees over your hips makes more work for the core. So what will happen is the arms will be going over your head and up, and one time they will have nothing in them, and one time they will have a block in them. So go ahead, grab your block if you have one, and move the block over your head a few times. Keep the block if you have them in your hand, and then for those who feel they can, they're going to move the legs forward, not dropping the knees straight. So it's just like you're pushing your leg forward, not pushing your knees straight. So you just let the knees drop down, and for some, you might lightly touch your heels, or if you were pointing your feet, your toes. Now let's put the block back between the leg and see how that feels with the block there. So you see my knees are not straightening, they're just hinging at the hip. Okay, grab your block, bring your knees in, and if, and I will show without the block, you didn't have a block while you're resting, you would have an imaginary block, right? So you take the block, the arms and legs go away, you put the block back between the legs, and the arms and legs go away. So for those who don't use a block, you'll just look like this. And the whole time the back is not fluxing. It's not going down and up and down and up. It's just staying firm with the use of your core. Now that can be an issue for some people. It could be a lot of work. So if your feet don't go all the way down, then that's where you go. Modify or take a break. So I'm going to use the block, and we'll go through a few of the repetitions, and then we'll bring our knees into our chest when we're done. I will encourage you to keep your zipper zipped and to keep breathing. So come to that tabletop. One time the block is in the legs, and one time in the hands for those using a block. You breathe out when everything goes away. You breathe in when it comes in. You breathe out when it goes away. You breathe in when it comes in. Just keep the pattern going. Take breaks or modify. Okay, everybody hug your knees in. Ooh. Go ahead and cross your ankles and leave your feet low by your bum instead of up toward the sky. You can use your hands on this one to kind of push on your hands to help you lift or elevate your tailbone. It doesn't have to go high, just enough that I could slide a piece of paper under it. So you could do this, or I always just hold my head. It's just kind of what I'm used to, and I will lift up my tailbone. And it doesn't have to be high, but it does have to be done slowly. See if you can ascertain that zipper motion that begins in Mula Bandha. Are you breathing? So you can stay here and rest a moment. I'm going to introduce the bicycle, 2 legs. So I think in swimming it's called monofinning. So watch, you can have your ankles crossed as they just go up and kind of circle this way, not very far down. Or you can put the inner edges of the feet together as they go this way. You can maybe go a little lower. Again, the low back should not be coming up and going down. It should be neutral. So that's where we're going next. If you say, I don't think that's a good one for me, and it might not be, you're going to put one foot on the floor or hold it up, and you're just going to have one leg do this. It's still really good. So if you need one foot down, you can do this. And if you need one leg up, you can do this. And if you can do 2 legs, do 2 legs. So breathe, address your bandhas, and here we go. Careful your back is not changing. It should remain constant. Not arched, not rounded. Like I'm sitting in your stomach, forcing you to tighten your belly. So let's put the feet down, hands down, and we're going to go to a bridge pose. For those who have a block, not the low end, see if you can put it at that in-betweeny place. So you elevate the hips, slide the block into the sacrum. So I've got my support for a higher lift. If your back doesn't do a higher lift, or you don't want to put anything under your back, even a towel, you could just be here, or you could just be in a regular bridge pose. I'm doing supported bridge pose today. So a supported bridge pose is surprising. Surprising in a way that your back reacts to it differently. It may be more accustomed to having the glutes and the hamstrings and the legs fired up. So when you surrender onto a prop, it kind of relaxes, so it's kind of a unique sensation. You do have a choice to not use a block or a pillow. While you're here breathing, take in the sensations of your body, whether it's liking it, feeling challenged by it. Let your knower guide if you need to put your hips down. For those of us who have been using a support, before we remove it, let's transition in a brilliant way. Address your bandhas and squeeze your buttock muscles. Get them activated first, tighten your belly, and then when you lift your hips, it'll be less of a shock. And you can slide that pillow, that towel, or that block out and come down, articulating your spine. Just roll to one side and come up onto your elbow on that one side. Now, if you have a shoulder issue, this may not be your best option. but it is good to help strengthen into the shoulder. So for you, if you're not going to elevate the hips, you're going to kind of sink down and pull up. You see I'm kind of sinking, I'm sinking, and giving into gravity, and then I pull up. That will help you build and cultivate proper form and good strength. For those who say they would like to do a bit more, my knees are bent, my arm is in front. As my hips elevate, my arm will elevate and then it will lower. And then my arm will elevate as my hips elevate and lower. Options, top leg can go out, elevate and lower. So it's almost like sidearm balance. Make sure your parameters are good. The shoulder is above the elbow. Now the next one we're going to hold, sustain, sidearm balance. So holding up. Feel that you're reaching high to the sky. Lower down. Now you can either roll to the other side as long as you can see me. I'm going to spin around. It's better for my voice to go toward the microphone. All right, so here I am on my elbow, my knees together and toward the front edge of the mat. Bandhas, yes. Yeah. So if only I wanted to do this and pull up and then sink down. Remember, this is my basic, just to get a little more strength in my shoulder girdle. If you wanted to do the next one, both hips go up and down. If you wanted to extend the top legs, let's do a few of those. Extend the arm forward, select the position with your legs, anchor your shoulder in position over elbow, and let's go up and down. Let's hold this one. Reach, reach, reach. And slowly come down. Bring yourself to a seated position. Coming back to sit on your bum, sit on a block, sit on your knees, sit in your chair. And a version of the cat and cow. For many of those seated position, draw in through the belly. Press out with your chest. Notice how your body feels a little later in the practice. It may still have some cranky parts, but maybe it feels a little more. Okay, pause. One hand to the side if you're sitting in a chair or on the mat. Open the arm and just wave. Involve your breath. And now I'm going to circle the arm over my head. It's like a big lasso. Over and around. Over and around. And let's do the other side. So hand at chair or on the mat. And just wave, leaning a few times. And with that circle, and then sitting back. So if you're at the chair, come back on your mat because we're going to be going to Shavasana. So come back on your mat. And let's drop those knees again from side to side. Bandha Konasana. This time, walk your hands up behind your back. Sit nice and tall. You're welcome to stay here. You're welcome to transfer the hands to your ankle. And when I turn sideways, it will be a reminder that it's not this, it's here. So sometimes the hands behind are just better. And then you can use the hands to push you forward. If you're holding your ankles, you can use your hands to pull you forward. Ah, your hips, right? Oh, my hips. And then surrender forward. Slowly roll yourself up. And we're going to transition towards Shavasana. Depending on your space, you may want to put a blanket over you. You might want to put something warm on your feet. You might want to be on a pillow. If you have these blocks, you could put them here, and elevating the legs makes the low back a little better. If you were near a wall, you could put your feet up the wall. This is very nice. So we do this Shavasana, as you know, for several purposes. We want to calm the body and give it a chance to return to its sense of calm. And we also want to bring a sense of mindfulness to our practice. And so as I reposition myself over next to you, and you get yourself set up to have a few moments of doing nothing. Now, I have noticed over my years of practicing and being with groups of people that for some people, Shavasana is not that relaxation that it is for some, because we're all so different. Some people will lay and you'll see their fingers tapping on the mat, impatience. So I think for some of us, it's more of a mental relaxation. For some, it's a lovely physical relaxation. It's not quite meditation, because you're not trying to find that extra place. You're just being mindful of letting go, because the thoughts will still, as in meditation, come through, and you just kind of scoot them over here or over there. So just a few suggestions as you find your own way into Shavasana, the corpse pose. And so a corpse requires nothing. No thinking, no muscles, no ligaments or tendons. But what we do have is a place to rest our attention, as we are living, breathing beings, and that breath can be a connection to help us step away from the monkey mind, as we often call it. So maybe you notice the breath and how long it takes to come in and out. Maybe you notice the weight of the body. As you lay, maybe you become aware of where you personally hold your tension, and it could be different. Some hold it in the neck and shoulders, some in the jaw, some in the low back. So see if you can void yourself of thoughts and tension, and wait until I ring the singing bowl. Let this time be yours. So the singing bowl welcomes us back from that place that resides in us all the time, but we often forget about it. So as you deepen the breath and wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing yourself back together, staying as you are, rolling to your side, opening your mind to our thoughts for the day. So a Mary Roberts Reinhardt has said, to be kind to all, to like many and love a few, to be needed and wanted by those we love is certainly the nearest we can come to happiness. There is no great mystery to being happy, because happiness is within easy reach of all, though we don't always appreciate this fact. The secret to happiness is this: treat others as you would like to be treated. And that's about it. Like a stick thrown to a dog, love and kindness keeps coming back. When we make others happy, we make ourselves happy. And so thought today, I have a good life with friends I love and who love me. And I bet that's true for you. So bring yourself to a seated position, if not there already. So be happy with your progress in your yoga practice as we open the arms and raise them toward the sky, bringing in all that goodness with our hands. We place it at the heart and share the best in me honors the best in you. That word is Namaste. So thank you for doing the practice. I know it might have felt a bit challenging, but we should have those moments where we feel we have to step forward and then learn how to manage them. Some days they'll come easy, and some days there'll be a challenge. So enjoy the rest of your week.